Ever felt like you've got big dreams of getting rich, but the lazy side of you just keeps winning? You're not alone. Tons of people want to break free from the 9-to-5 grind and build financial freedom, but that pesky procrastination keeps holding them back. The truth is, it's easy to get stuck in that cycle. You want to start investing, you know you need to build better habits, but somehow, you just can't seem to get moving. Maybe you've tried a few times, only to end up right back where you started. But here's the thing, it doesn't have to be this way. What if I told you that, even if you've been stuck in a rut, it's still possible to change things up and start making real progress? What if the key to getting rich isn't about doing everything at once, but about starting small and building momentum? Yeah, it sounds simple, but that's exactly what we're going to dive into today. You'll discover how you can go from feeling stuck to making real moves towards financial freedom without burning yourself out in the process. The best part? You don't have to be a financial expert to get started. Whether you've been avoiding the idea of managing your money or are just getting started with investing, there are simple ways to shift your mindset and start taking action right now. And I'm not talking about a complicated 10-step plan, just a few powerful strategies that anyone can implement, no matter where you're at. By the end of this, you'll learn how to transform that lazy energy into momentum that's going to push you closer to your financial goals. It's time to stop wondering how to get rich and actually start figuring out how to get started. So, stick with me, and let's flip that script from procrastination to progress. Trust me, it's easier than you think. You're closer to making your dreams a reality than you might realize. Many people dream of success, of achieving financial freedom, and of having a life that's not constrained by money. But what happens when ambition collides with laziness? It's like a tug of war, your dreams pulling you forward, but laziness pulling you back. The truth is, we all face this battle at some point. You want to learn how to make money, how to start investing, how to break free from the cycle, but laziness creeps in, making it hard to take that first step. Think about it. You've probably set goals before, told yourself you'd start reading more about investments, or maybe even considered starting a side hustle. But when it's time to act, something holds you back, right? That feeling of overwhelm creeps in, and suddenly, checking your phone or binge-watching Netflix seems more appealing. The reason? It's easy to fall into the trap of procrastination, and we often end up feeling guilty about it, feeling like we're wasting time when we should be investing in ourselves. This is where inertia comes in. Inertia is the tendency to stay stuck, whether it's in your daily routine or in your financial habits. When things are at rest, they tend to stay at rest. Starting anything, whether it's a new business or learning how to manage money, can feel like pushing a boulder up a hill. It's no wonder that so many people end up getting stuck in a cycle of procrastination, convincing themselves they'll start tomorrow. The key to breaking free is simple, but it requires a shift in mindset. You've got to make that first step easy. Don't overwhelm yourself by thinking you have to read a whole book on personal finance or start a massive investment portfolio. Start small. Commit to reading just one chapter or saving a tiny amount each week. By reducing the effort needed to get started, you'll begin to break the inertia and set the wheels of success in motion. It's amazing how quickly momentum can build. Once you take that first step, it becomes easier to take the next. The key is consistency. It's not about making huge leaps right away, but about taking small steps every day. Maybe you start by setting up an automatic savings plan or committing to spend just 2 minutes researching a new investment. It's all about keeping the momentum going, and before you know it, you'll be moving forward with ease. The root cause, inertia. Inertia is more than just a scientific concept. It's something that affects every area of our lives, especially when it comes to financial success. Think about it. When you're stuck in a rut, whether it's with your savings or investments, it often feels like you're just waiting for something to change. But nothing changes until you take action. The real struggle with inertia is that it keeps you stuck in place, even when you know you should be moving forward. It's that feeling of being paralyzed, knowing there's more to do but somehow not being able to get started. You've probably heard the phrase "just do it" thrown around. But for many, just doing it isn't that simple. Inertia takes hold, making the simplest tasks feel like mountains to climb. Maybe you know you need to create a budget or learn about passive income, but every time you sit down to do it, you freeze. That's inertia. It's like your brain is in neutral, and without the right push, you just stay stuck. The real challenge is recognizing that this is not a lack of willpower, it's the force of inertia keeping you from making progress. What's even more frustrating is how this inertia shows up in different ways. You might feel completely motivated to improve your financial situation, but you get bogged down by the first obstacle. You start overthinking things, thinking that investing in the stock market or starting a side business is too complicated or risky. But the truth is, inertia thrives on overthinking. The more you analyze, the more you stay stuck. In this state, doing nothing feels easier than doing something, even if that something is exactly what you need to move forward. The first step in overcoming inertia is acknowledging it. It's about understanding that you don't have to start big. The key to breaking this cycle is reducing the complexity of the task at hand. Instead of thinking about all the steps involved in launching a business or mastering investments, break it down into tiny pieces. Focus on one small thing you can do today, whether it's reading an article on passive income or setting up a basic budget. By simplifying the task, you start to loosen the grip of inertia. The real power comes when you realize that every little action you take chips away at the wall of inertia. It's not about waiting for the perfect moment or the right feeling. It's about acting anyway, even if it feels uncomfortable. And when you do that, momentum starts to build. Suddenly, you're not just sitting there waiting for something to change, you're actively shaping your future. And this momentum? It's contagious. The more you act, the more you'll want to act. Overthinking the start. Starting something new is tough, whether it's investing, learning about personal finance, or even beginning a side hustle. One of the biggest obstacles people face is overthinking the start. It's easy to get overwhelmed by the possibilities. You tell yourself that starting a business will require tons of capital or that making money through investments is reserved for experts. This kind of thinking can paralyze you, making it hard to even take that first step. You begin to imagine everything that could go wrong, and before you know it, you're avoiding it altogether. We all do it, build up an idea in our minds that makes it seem like a mountain instead of a hill. Let's take investing, for example. The thought of entering the stock market can feel intimidating, especially if you've never done it before. You might think, what if I lose all my money? Or what if I pick the wrong stocks? But here's the thing, overthinking doesn't help. In fact, it only makes things harder. Instead of diving into learning how to invest, you let the fear of the unknown keep you stuck in a loop of avoidance. This is where simplicity comes into play. If you really want to get started, you need to stop thinking of the task as one giant thing. Instead, break it down. For example, rather than trying to master investing all at once, start by simply researching basic financial terms or reading about low-risk investments. You don't need to know everything before you begin. The best way to make progress is by taking small, manageable steps. Little by little, the task will feel less daunting, and before you know it, you'll be taking action. Taking action is the antidote to overthinking. The longer you wait, the harder it becomes. So, why not just commit to a small action? Maybe it's as simple as watching a YouTube video on how to start investing or signing up for a free online course on financial education. The idea here isn't to dive in deep right away, but to build a sense of accomplishment. Each small step you take will reduce the fear and confusion surrounding the process, making the next step even easier. The bottom line is, overthinking only holds you back from making progress. The longer you wait for everything to be perfect, the longer you stay stuck. By focusing on taking small, tangible actions, you'll overcome that paralyzing fear and start moving forward. And once you get going, things become much clearer. The next step is easier, and before you know it, you're no longer stuck in a mental loop but making real progress toward your goals. Breaking inertia. Breaking inertia isn't about doing everything at once. In fact, it's the opposite. It's about making the first step so small that it feels almost effortless. When you're facing a big task, like getting your finances in order or finally starting that business you've been dreaming about, the challenge isn't the work itself, it's just getting started. The trick is to reduce the effort needed to make that first move. Instead of tackling everything at once, aim for a tiny action that feels doable, like opening a savings account or watching a 10-minute tutorial on starting a side hustle. The best way to get started is to focus on the smallest task that can push you into motion. Let's say you're overwhelmed by the idea of budgeting or saving. Instead of planning every single category of your expenses, start by tracking one small area. Maybe it's just your coffee budget for the week. That's it. Once you get into the habit of doing one thing, you'll feel more confident in tackling the bigger tasks. The goal here isn't perfection, it's simply to start. That's how you break inertia, by making that first step so easy that you can't say no to it. Starting small is often the key to making a bigger impact later. Once you break the inertia and take that first small action, something magical happens. Momentum begins to build. You start to feel the energy shift. It's like pushing a snowball down a hill. It starts small, but as it rolls, it gathers speed. And with each small success, whether it's saving a little more this week or investing in a low-cost index fund, you gain confidence. You realize that breaking inertia isn't as hard as it seemed at first, and you begin to crave that momentum. Think about it. How many times have you procrastinated because the task felt too big? What if instead of thinking about the entire project, you focused on just starting? Maybe you could commit to spending just 10 minutes a day learning about money or looking into ways to earn passive income. That initial step might seem insignificant, but it sets the stage for a bigger transformation. By taking small, consistent actions, you'll eventually build the habit of pushing through inertia, and you'll find that tackling bigger challenges becomes much easier. Breaking inertia is a game changer. It's the difference between dreaming about financial success and actually making progress. The key is to stop overthinking and start taking small, manageable actions. Each step you take builds momentum and makes the next step feel easier. And before long, you'll find yourself on a much more fulfilling path, moving forward with confidence toward your financial goals. The 2-minute rule. The 2-minute rule is a simple yet powerful strategy to break the chains of procrastination. When we think about a task, it often feels overwhelming. But here's the secret. Instead of focusing on the whole task, just commit to doing it for 2 minutes. Whether it's starting your morning routine, tackling a financial plan, or making that first investment, the idea is to take a small, manageable action. If it's as simple as looking at your budget for 2 minutes, that's progress. After those 2 minutes, you might even find yourself wanting to keep going. You've probably experienced this. You tell yourself, I'll just work on this for 2 minutes. And what usually happens? You end up working for much longer. That's because the hardest part is getting started. Once you break that initial resistance, the task becomes easier. Maybe you start by setting up a small investment account, or you check out some online resources to educate yourself about passive income. Once the first step is taken, it doesn't seem so difficult anymore. By committing just 2 minutes to a task, you remove the barrier that procrastination builds. If you're overwhelmed by the idea of learning about finances, Just spend 2 minutes reading an article or watching a video on the basics of investing. This small, easy commitment removes the excuse of it's too much and creates a shift. Instead of thinking about the whole project, you're simply giving yourself permission to start small. The 2-minute rule makes it almost impossible to procrastinate because the action is so small that it's hard to say no to. What's fascinating about the 2-minute rule is that it works for just about anything. You could apply it to your workout routine, commit to exercising for just 2 minutes a day. Or maybe you want to develop better financial habits, like automating savings. Just start by setting up an automatic transfer, even if it's for a small amount. That's all you need to do in the beginning. The more you practice this, the more natural it becomes to make progress. You'll find that 2 minutes quickly leads to 10, then 20, and before long, you've accomplished a significant task. When you embrace the 2-minute rule, you're breaking the cycle of avoidance and building momentum. Each time you commit to those 2 minutes, you'll find yourself doing more than you expected. It's a small, sustainable way to start making progress, and with consistency, it will lead you to bigger achievements. Imagine how much you could accomplish in a month if every day you took action for just 2 minutes. It's more than just a trick, it's a mindset shift that makes success feel more achievable. Momentum matters. Once you start moving, momentum is your best friend. It's the force that turns what seemed like an impossible task into something you can handle with ease. Think of it like pushing a boulder up a hill. At first, it's heavy and slow. But once you get it rolling, it picks up speed. This is exactly how momentum works in life and finances. Whether you're trying to build an investment portfolio, start a new business, or just build better money habits, the key is to keep going once you've made that first move. Momentum is powerful because it transforms the overwhelming into the manageable. After you've made a small start, whether it's reading a book on financial freedom or investing $50 into a stock, you begin to gain confidence. The next step becomes easier, and the next, and so on. It's like compounding interest for your energy. Once you gain that initial momentum, tasks that once felt monumental now seem like a natural progression. The hardest part was the first step, and now you're cruising. This concept doesn't only apply to your finances, it works for your personal life as well. If you're struggling with starting a fitness routine or adopting new habits, momentum can be the difference between quitting after a week and sticking with it long term. It's about keeping that momentum alive. If you start with small, consistent actions, you'll find that things start falling into place more easily. The more you push, the more you'll find that opportunities and success start coming to you almost effortlessly. But here's the thing, momentum doesn't last forever if you don't nurture it. You have to keep feeding it. For example, once you've made that first investment, don't stop. Keep learning about how investments work, diversify your portfolio, or even consider new ways to create passive income. Every small decision to keep moving forward, whether it's taking action on your goals or staying disciplined in your habits, builds upon the momentum you've already created. The more you do, the more you'll see the snowball effect take place. The beautiful thing about momentum is that it makes the journey easier, but it requires consistency. If you want to create a life of financial success, make sure you don't stop once you've built a little momentum. Every step forward counts, and soon enough, you'll be looking back at how far you've come. Keep that ball rolling, and before long, you'll find yourself living the life you've always dreamed of. Practical application. These methods, reducing stakes and using the 2-minute rule, can be applied to every area of your life, not just financial planning. It's all about taking those small steps to overcome procrastination, whether you're looking to lose weight, build relationships, or invest in your personal growth. For example, if you're trying to get better at managing your finances, start by setting a budget for just 1 week. Don't worry about the entire month at first. Once you have that first week under control, the next week will feel easier, and soon, you'll be able to plan ahead for the month. Imagine trying to get in shape. Instead of thinking about running a 5K, break it down into small chunks. Maybe just start with walking for 10 minutes a day. That's it. The next day, you walk for 12 minutes. Before you know it, you're jogging, and eventually, running the race you thought was impossible. The same principle applies to growing your wealth. Start by investing a small amount of money in stocks, then as you learn more, gradually increase your investment. Over time, that small seed grows into something more substantial. It's important to recognize that the principles you're learning here are universal. Whether it's building your knowledge about passive income, starting a side hustle, or creating a long-term investment strategy, the same rules apply. Focus on those first steps, no matter how small they seem. Once you've started, everything gets easier. And remember, when you apply these methods to various aspects of life, the momentum you build spills over into all your other goals. Success becomes a habit, not just an isolated event. These small actions can help you achieve big things. Don't underestimate the power of simplicity. If you want to succeed in building wealth or personal growth, you don't need to tackle everything at once. Just take those first steps, follow the momentum, and soon, you'll be moving toward your goals faster than you thought possible. The journey of 1,000 miles begins with a single step, and that step can be as simple as starting with 2 minutes. When you break things down, the big picture doesn't feel so overwhelming anymore. Now that you've got these tools in your pocket, it's time to put them to work. The next time you face a task that seems impossible, remember the 2-minute rule and the power of momentum. You'll be surprised at how far those small steps can take you. And who knows? With consistency and determination, you might look back in a few months and realize that you've built something incredible. Remember how overwhelming it felt to compare yourself to others, always wondering how to get ahead? Well, you've just learned how to take your first steps towards financial freedom. No more waiting for the perfect moment. It's about starting now, no matter how small. You've got the tools to kick procrastination to the curb and build momentum toward your goals. So, what's next? Don't let this knowledge just sit there. Apply it. Hit that subscribe button and turn on notifications so you don't miss out on more powerful tips that can transform your relationship with money. We're in this together, and I'll be right here to guide you every step of the way. Ready to dive deeper? If you're serious about creating passive income streams, eliminating debt, and keeping your mind clear under financial pressure, I've got just the thing for you. Click the link in the pinned comment now and start transforming your finances today. It's your time. Check out the material in the pinned comment to learn exactly how to balance your mind and your finances for true success. You'll discover actionable steps to gain financial clarity, create lasting wealth, and live a life free from financial stress. Don't wait, your future self will thank you for it.